Well, I'm glad there's people like you there, Justin. The even richer part about me being on mute when I went into this was that I just celebrated an almost smooth transition into the introduction. I was like, "Oh, I even remember to turn the music down and turn my banners off." And that whole time, no one could hear me because I was a noob tuber. It's fucking hilarious, and it's lost to everybody. Sad. What up, Pretzel Grass? How's it going, man? I'll do my spiel again. Welcome to WIP Wednesday Live, episode 18. Thank you guys for being here. And tonight we are going to be working on this animated series Mandarin figure that I've been making for Justin in the chat there, Resilient Customs. I'm going to try to get my last sculpting session on, then I just have to glue a few pieces and I should be ready to paint. So yeah, I'll do the kind of thing. If you haven't liked the video already, please throw me a like. Really appreciate it. It really helps. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do that as well. And I always forget if there's anything else. I have a new video coming out on Friday, a custom figure showcase on my Jin Satome figure from Marvel vs. Capcom. At least that's the plan, as long as I can finish the video up tonight, which I think I can. So we should be good for that. And what else do I have? In the next 10 days, I hope to finish up all the last little bits of customizing before I take my little break and dive into my collection. I'm going to have to rejig all 14 of these shelves, and it's going to take me quite a bit of time. So yeah, I'm going to have to probably take a bit of time off to customize. I'm going to still do live sessions. They may not be as interactive because when I'm working on the shelves, I'm kind of committed to the shelves. But I know I've had lots of people inquire about how I do my shelves. So I'm probably going to just live stream it and just leave it raw for everyone to just see. You can watch me get mad when things fall over. I tend to throw things, so it can be fun. But, you know, it could also be surrounded by like hours of boring, heavy breathing. So yeah. Justin Brazilian Custom says, we'll get there, bud. Yeah, one day, maybe. I think that's everything. I do have a couple more little things to do next week, so I may start, I mean, by that point I may be well into my painting on him. But I'm also working on, I was looking through my my parts drawer, and I realized that I have a screaming head. I'm going to use it. So I got this Maven. Here, let's turn the other camera on. Let's bring camera number 2 in. Oh, a little grainy. It'll get there though. So I found this head in my fodder box. Is the camera like foggy or something? It could just be that the camera's dirty. I don't really take care of my shit. So I found this head in my fodder box. It's a Maven Collectibles, and it looks like it might scale pretty well. I have a Shriek body here. That's what the Siren body is based off of. The head doesn't fit in. The neck peg is a bit too small, so I'll have to fix that. But it looks like it might fit pretty nicely. So I think I'm gonna try it out, and yeah, I think I'm gonna try it out, and I might do that next week for WIP Wednesday Live. I'd like to be prepared for when I get the Siren figure. I don't have it yet, but for when I get it, I'm going to solo on this guy. So yeah, so tonight, I'm thinking ahead of the game now. See, this is next week's shit, but it just dawned on me, so figured I would rip her out. Tonight I'm working on this Mandarin figure. So I've done a couple things since last time. I added some magnets to a cape, and I can't do it with the head on. I have to take the head off to do it. So yeah, so it just snaps into play. The problem is the way I buried the magnets. It's kind of on an angle, more of an angle than I want it to be. It's easy enough to adjust it. So what I'm going to be doing tonight is I had originally done like a frame on this using Epoxy Sculpt. Now I'm going to do green stuff, and I'm going to actually fill in the gap up here on the top because that kind of bugs me as well. And in doing that, it should hold it in place and keep it where I want it to be. So that's the hope. If that's not the case, I may have to do some surgery on the back, which I hope I don't have to, because that would be a pain in the ass. So, but yeah, it's nice because you just kind of pop it off, put it on, pop it off, put it on, and it's like, it's on there, like it's not coming off. So yeah, so that's the plan. I also need to finish sculpting. He has some minor details right around the nip area that I got to do. I also have to do the second round of details on his hands. So the reason I put the hands on a different body is so that way I can really hold it and not have to worry about putting my hands in my other sculpt on this body. So I moved the hands to this because like they're small, so I'm gonna really need to like get in there and, you know, do what I got to do. And what else am I doing tonight? I got that. I got that. Oh, the back of the hair. So I think the last time I had done this, I think I was showing you guys, but it kind of stuck out too much. I didn't like how it looked. It looked weird. It looked like boxy. So what I did is I went in and I just like cleaned it right off, and I'll just add some bulk to it that way. But then what I'm finding now is when I put the cape on, this is what I always do. See, I don't think my shit out. So don't take it from me, kids. So this works because the way I used the Omega red hair, I was able to just angle it out. I knew I was going to have a cape of some sort. But now what I kind of want to do is I don't like how it just swirls to one side. I might end up sculpting it to go straight down. But I'm going to see what it looks like with the one side first. And if I like it, I'll leave it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's on the back. But the more hair I put here, the more risk there's going to be for paint rub. Because obviously that hair is laying on that cape to a certain degree. So I need to kind of be as mindful as I can in that regard. So that's what I'm doing tonight. Hair, rings, cape, and front thingies. That's it. And tomorrow I've reshaped these. These are the knee armor pieces. So I've reshaped them to get them to how I like them. And then I will attach them probably with some epoxy sculpt and some resin to make sure that they're really on there. And then if I have time after that, which I think I will, my buddy Stranded Customs sent me a care package last week or the week before, and it consisted of many 3D printed tonfas for the blue Zeo Ranger. So he sent me 6 pairs. He actually sent me 8 pairs, but one of the pairs was broken. So instead of fixing it, I was like, I'll just do the 6. So I'm painting all 6. I'm going to keep the best one for myself, and then I'm going to sell the other 2 pairs. So yeah, we're going to have some tonfas for the blue Zeo Ranger, which would be nice. I know they're putting them out with the recently repacked cogs, but this saves anybody the money from buying. Like, I myself am not buying Zeo villains. I just bought the Zeo Rangers, so I don't have a need to buy a cog just to get the tonfas. So I'm going to have them available, a couple pairs. So let's just go back here and catch up. Pretzelgrass says that Shriek is a great buck. Yeah, man. I actually have 3 of them in my bin. I was talking to my buddy earlier, and I was like, oh, I ran into, or he said he ran into the retro Spidey wave and he bought a black suit Spidey. And I was like, oh yeah, I just got my second of each Ben Reilly and Symbiote Spidey from Toy Snowman. And he's like, why did you get a second one? And I'm like, oh, because they go up in value and like they're good base figures. And if I ever needed that for a custom, it would be way too expensive to buy. So that's usually what I do. Like, I have kind of like my customs that I think might be, or my figures that might be expensive that I keep as like fodder, but I keep it all together. So if something ever happens where I needed to sell it or something, I have it accessible if I need to. So, but yeah, it's great. So I have a few Shrieks. They're great. Collector Express is in the house. What's up, man? He says, I love using magnets for attaching capes and other accessories. Yeah, me too. Magnets are a lot of fun. They can also be a pain in the ass if they don't line up right, and I'm notorious for that. So Justin says, if you like it, you should put a ring on it. Hashtag, if you like it, you should put a ring on it. Pretzelgrass says, are those Power Rangers X-Acto knives? Not quite. Dangerous tonfas. I'm actually not making them screen accurate. The screen accurate ones actually have a white handle, but I don't want to. I know the Power Rangers Lightning Collection hands and the way they will rub the paint right off that. These were printed in black. I'm going to do gold decor on the top and bottom, and the rest I'm going to leave black on the handle because it's just going to scrape off anyways. Hey, Metaluna's in the house. What's up, man? You're up late again. But it's in summer now. No school, so that's good. Collector Express says, I wish Firelord was on the retro Spider-Man body. Yeah, I don't need Firelord, so it's not a character I feel compelled to own. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Legends reveals. I even came prepared with all the stuff on a little slide thing, which is so me. But yeah, today's reveals were pretty cool. I didn't expect to get anything, to be honest. I kind of forgot they were even doing anything. And I was busy with work today, and my buddies, I saw my phone start blowing up right around noon, 12:30, and everyone's like, "Oh, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" Everybody knows I'm a pretty hardcore X-Men fan, and the what appears to be either HasCon or SDCC exclusive 2-pack, the Mojo and the Mojo World one. It looks pretty promising. I'm gonna have to get that, I think. It goes up for sale tomorrow, which is cool. How much am I gonna need? Got a little bit on the back. I got that. Those can be done with green stuff. I'm doing everything with green stuff tonight, by the way. The rings I may have to do with Epoxy Sculpt, but I'm gonna see if I can do it with green stuff. So a little. That's not gonna be that much. I'll overmix just in case. So this is that, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the green stuff with the gap. And I think the idea is that with the gap, it's supposed to make it so you don't get that like crunchy little bits. I don't know if you've ever had the ones, like usually I buy green stuff in 2 separate tubes, but apparently you can buy it in a sheet like this with no gap. The problem is that you still get the crunchy bits in the ones with the gaps. So it doesn't actually really do anything. It's hardly a selling feature. Pretzel Grass says, I only want Firelord and Mojo. Yeah, I am 100%. I mean, I don't need Dazzler, obviously, but like, there's no way I'm not getting Mojo and Longshot. It ain't happening. I really like Mojo. He looks really good. I like that he's bigger than the old one. I do prefer the paint job on the Toy Biz one, but I get that Hasbro's not really all for painting their figures. It's not a diss. That's how they roll. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have to mix this up and then pick out the little crusty bits, which is annoying. That's okay. They're calling it a 4-pack with the Wolverine figure that's included. Really? That's not good. You could hardly call that a Wolverine figure. Still cool though, and I'm glad they picked Wolverine. Most exciting for me is the potential of a future Iron Man retro card, says Brazilian Customs. Yeah, I know you're huge into that, so I hope for your sake that they give you what you want. I think that could definitely be cool, but Pretzelgrass says, oh yeah, I'm excited for Longshot. Yeah, he looks good, and full new sculpt as well. I think it was Renee from Gentle Giant Studios, the guys who, I think he sculpted Longshot and Mojo. Oh man, that's fucking, there we go. Took out a big chunk, but that's okay because there was more blue than there was yellow. But yeah, see, this is the problem with that gap one, is you get that edge piece and it like gets air dried, and it's like look at this. Doesn't even take detail. And then you mix that in and it's a pain in the ass to work with. Okay, so it's probably going to be a bit better now that I took that off, but there's probably still going to be a couple bits in it. And the idea is you don't want those little bits, because if you've got something going and you're like smoothing it out and you see the little bits, that's a fucking pain in your ass to have to deal with later. So you can see right there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's one of those little bits. Piss off bits. There you go. I hate mixing green stuff. What a pain in the ass. I just twist it until it goes away, until it turns green. Collector Express says, yeah, a line of retro carded Iron Man figures would be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an Iron Man collector, but for, you know, my friends who are, you know, obviously Resilient Customs is a hardcore Iron Man fan. So, you know, for those kind of people, I would love it for them. I mean, and to be honest with you, as much as I love the modular Iron Man, I feel pretty confident if they did a, you know, flat you know, red and yellow rather than like metallic red and gold modular Iron Man, I feel like I might switch out my first release one for that, because I quite prefer that. Like animated series Iron Man, that's where I got the love for that look. So even though I was never an Iron Man fan. Metaluna says Longshot seems to be a bit buff to me, or seems a bit buff to me. We'll have a closer look in a little bit and see. But it kind of looked like it was just like more puffy, like jumpsuit kind of. But I guess it's hard to say when they're digital renders in all the pictures. I feel like that's the worst thing about the digital renders, is you don't really get a good sense of like what you know, like what they actually, how they actually scale with one another. It's all just digital. I don't love it. Much prefer the thing. I wonder when that's going to get released though. What would be a custom that would be annoying to make? Oh, buddy, there's so many. I won't lie, there's a lot of stuff I turned down just based on the general content of what it is. Like any type of Spider-Man that has web lines, I'm automatically out. That's not my, you know, I play to my strengths. So usually, I shouldn't say that, I don't always, but you know, like I've been getting better with my skin tones and my faces, but I still don't think I'm anywhere comparable to Morning Wolf or Christina or Phoenix 4, like any of those guys who make their female figures look, and their male figures, but their female figures in particular look just like beautiful. That's like outside of my skill set. I'm not there yet. Like working on it, but not there yet. Anything that has fine precision line work, like spider webs or anything like that, that's an automatic no. What else? Anything that would require like a lot of like full body resculpts, I try my best to stay away from. They're just so time consuming. I mean, obviously I don't do a good job at staying away from them. I did multiples last year. Even this year, like Ahab was pretty much a full resculpt. Maybe not 100%, but pretty damn close. So yeah, I guess I don't really actually follow that rule, but yeah, I think this is pretty much good. I'm only using this one with the gap because I ran out of my other ones, and I haven't gone to the there's a hobby shop right near the airport, Vancouver Airport. It's really awesome. It's called Imperial Hobbies. They have everything. It's awesome. And I just haven't had the time to get out there. So I've been busy. Life is busy. I can also talk about She-Hulk trailer, if anyone's into that. Pretzelgrass says, can you make me 49 Spider-Man figures on the Punisher body? Oh my god, you're killing me. Seriously? That's great. I mean, I don't love that Punisher body either, that Reaper body. It's weird because that new Vulcan body, I saw some size pics comparisons next to Bucky Cap. And yeah, it's bigger, like pretty substantially bigger than the Bucky Cap. So I don't know. It's kind of more like a replacement for the Grim Reaper body, which that retro Punisher was on. So I'm gonna have to Vaseline this boy up. Things are gonna get greasy up in here. This is my super expired Vaseline that I've been using forever. Not on me personally, but this is my customizing Vaseline. Hardly holds its form. So what I'm doing is I'm slathering on some Vaseline on this guy. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to be applying green stuff on the figure, and I want to be able to just peel it off. So if you put Vaseline on it, it should come off relatively easy without leaving any kind of a mess on the body. The problem is that it doesn't like to adhere to the body when it has that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this where I need it to be, and I'm going to tape it in place. And then I'm going to sculpt on top of this onto the body, and then that way it'll hold it in place and keep the exact shape I'm looking for. And when I sculpt over it tomorrow, it dries, I'll just peel it off, and then it formally fits perfectly to where I need it to fit, and the magnets should line up. Because the magnets are big enough, the problem is just the actual problem is that they're not lined up in the cape. They're slightly off. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Resilient Custom says Vulcan was surprisingly tall. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the character, so like I don't know if that's accurate to the character, but I was expecting it to be more in scale with the Bucky cap, but it's actually more out of scale than it is in scale. So Vulcan's design is boring to me. It seems like something's missing on his suit. Yeah, again, like I don't know that character. That was outside of a time that I read X-Men comics. But yeah, I don't actually need the character. Only reason I'm buying the figure is because it's a new body, and as a customizer, I would just like to have a closer look at it. So especially if it's going to be something we're going to be seeing a lot of, which they kind of made it sound like I mean, anytime you say it's the replacement for the Bucky cap, you know, they abused that fucking body, man. They got their money's worth. There's still a ton of customizers and people out there that just love the Bucky cap, though. Like my buddy New Collector, Seth, it's like one of his favorite bodies to use. I fucking hate it. I avoid it at all costs. I'm doing a Night Thrasher for Seth, and he really wants it based off of a Bucky cap, and I'm just like, I keep trying to switch out parts, and he's like, it might be a little too big for what I want. And I'm like, I hate the Bucky cap. Oh, Nike boy in the house. What up? How's it going, man? Says, yo. Okay, so I'm armed with a little cup of water and a little cup of rubbing alcohol. The water is not going to do too much for us here. When it comes to green stuff, I don't find that water really does anything against it. So right now I'm going to start by getting it as thin as I kind of can on the actual cape, and then I'm going to carry it over to the actual body. But yeah, we're going to start with the cape. I originally did this with Epoxy Sculpt, and it was really fragile on the edges. I should have been smarter about it. I don't know why I thought that would work. So definitely didn't think that through. That's my rubbing alcohol. Okay. And I'm just basically getting I'm kind of looking to keep this relatively, excuse me, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to keep this as basic as possible. I'm not looking to overcomplicate this design in any way. Oh shit. I need to make sure that that's lining up. It is slightly moving. I want to make sure that it works. So yeah, I don't actually have anything to base this off of. I'm just kind of making this up. So kind of making it up based on like the rest of his armor and what it kind of looks like. Pretzelgrass says that new She-Hulk trailer was fine. I think he meant fire. But then I saw Frogman and I got, it was fine. Okay, so that probably does make sense, was fine. But then I saw Frogman and got so ducking hyped. I love Frogman. That's what he says, Pretzelgrass. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much attachment to the character other than the fact that I made a custom of him back in the day, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Honestly, I love the idea of wacky little side characters. Even if he plays minimal to no part, I think that's great. I think that makes this universe feel more like the comic books, honestly. Like I've been saying that about the MCU as of late, is like I don't think the stories are as compelling as Phase 3, but that being said, we had been building towards Phase 3 and Endgame and Infinity War for, you know, a long time, right? And you know, I don't expect these stories to currently hit home with all these new heroes. Like, we're just getting introduced to them, so I don't expect that they're going to be doing that for me right now, right? But where I will give them credit for Phase 4 is I feel like the MCU is finally starting to feel like a comic book. Like, I feel like at this point, you know, back in the Phase 2 and 3 days, it seemed like, you know, just take a regular old Joe living in the 616 MCU universe. You know, on a daily basis, they're seeing aliens, they're seeing supervillains robbing banks and doing this and doing that. And it's like in the earlier phases, it seemed like people were pretty surprised by that. And now it seems like things just get crazier and crazier. It's like, all right, you know, there's this big octopus thing attacking the city. It's not technically a spoiler, it was in the trailers of Multiverse of Madness. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like they're letting their it's just starting to feel so much more like a comic, and I am here for it. Honestly, I don't feel like the stories are as compelling, I will definitely say that, but I love what I'm seeing. And like, Multiverse of Madness to me was so fun. I'm seeing it again tomorrow. I'm so excited. Nike Boy says, I thought I was watching a Shrek trailer the first time I watched the She-Hulk trailer. And Pretzelgrass says the CGI is rough, but I don't mind, to be honest. Yeah, I honestly don't mind either. Like, I think they will fix the CGI. I don't think that's how it will end. So yeah, I feel like that's just a temporary problem. We still got a few months before this comes out, and I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think they'll deal with it. I am surprised they put it out that way. I feel like they should have known they were going to get hardcore criticized, especially right now. Everyone's in like MCU hater mode. So, yeah. All right, there you go. So that's where I'm going to leave that for now. As you can see, it's kind of up onto the shoulders. And again, this isn't going to stay this way. I will trim this up and clean it up, but I just want to let it set a little bit before I start toying with it, because the Vaseline underneath it will make it lift. So when I cut that, it's most likely going to want to pull the whole thing up off of there. So I'm going to let that chill for a bit. The other thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put, oh shit, what am I looking for? Looking for my picture for Mandarin. I'm basing it off the old 12-inch, the 12-inch Marvel Toy Biz figure. So this one, he has some kind of designs on his front of his chest here. So I'm going to just lay that down as well, giving myself a lot more green stuff than I probably need, but that's okay. Brazilian Custom says it's not uncommon for trailers to go to have unfinished CGI. Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. It's not the first time we've seen it either, I don't think so. Nike Boy says, being honest, the MCU feels so lost right now. All the Infinity Saga movies were all building up to something, but right now it feels like it's not going anywhere. Yeah, me and I mean, you know, you pop into the live streams every once in a while. Me and Moose Milk, me and Ryan talk about that a lot, and like, that's a big problem for him too. You know, it's like he needs to have something to look forward to. I feel like I'm not that person. Like, don't get me wrong, it's way more fun and exciting when there is something to look forward to, a big bad, a big ensemble piece. And I do agree with you and with Ryan that we aren't getting that right now. However, I feel like it's not as important right now because, you know, we're not going to need another 10 years to build up to another Avengers level type of thing. Like, there's too many heroes right now to take that super long game approach. Like, they're going to have to speed things up in a sense. And I do think we'll start getting more hints as to what we're getting into. I do think that's coming. But, you know, we're only half a phase in right now. And, you know, for them to not really going anywhere with the grand story, you know, who's to say? You know, we may have already seen pieces that may come together later and create something like in retrospect that's like amazing, right? So I don't know. I'm one of those people that at the end of the day, I don't need every one of these movies to blow my mind away. I mean, obviously, I would love that, but it's definitely not a requirement at this point for me. Like, if I just kind of enjoy it, like, that's good enough. But I get it. I know people's time is valuable, and I get that people don't want to commit to something that they're not fully enjoying, and I get that. The thing is there's going to be so much MCU content over the next 10 years that we're going to have to get over the fact that everything that comes out is not going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of flops. There's going to be, because they're trying things too, right? So I just think, yeah, I try to look at everything as, like, I look at Moon Knight. Like, story-wise, I thought Moon Knight was okay. I didn't think it was amazing, and it didn't blow my mind. I think Oscar Isaac is probably one of the best actors in the MCU in terms of like his performance and how he played the character. But I mean, like, to me, it's like they were trying too hard to make a movie in the MCU that didn't feel like it was in the MCU. And to me, that's its biggest weakness. Is like, I know a lot of people liked that it lost its MCU ties, but like, to me, the MCU tie is what makes it compelling. And like, when I don't get any MCU ties, I don't even need a lot. I don't need to see Captain America and Moon Knight, but like, to know if Mark Spector was blipped or not during the snap, like, to know where it falls in the current timeline with zero. I mean, I think there is a couple like backhand references but like, there's no obvious references to the MCU. And to me, it's like taking your A star and benching him. It's just like, hey, everyone's all done out over you right now. We're gonna just put you on the bench for now, and we're gonna just try to do this on our own. And like, I think that it works to a certain degree, but like, why? It doesn't need to be MCU heavy, and you don't need to force anything, but to even just have a couple references would have done wonders. I also think for a show called Moon Knight, the fact that we got 15 minutes with Moon Knight on screen over 6 hours is not okay either. But, some people like that it didn't feel like a comic book movie. But to me, that's what I love about the MCU, is those movies feel like comic book movies. I don't need it to feel grounded. That's what that Fox X-Men were for, and that shit was terrible. So, sorry if you don't agree with that opinion, but right now I'm just blending the top of this green stuff onto the top of the hair, and then I'm just letting this drape down here. I'll shape it later. Oh, what do we got? There's more comments. Oh, there's lots of you guys talking. This is great. Oh, okay, let me see. N2 me noob, sorry. Says She-Hulk trailer worries me. Poor CGI. She should be more buff. The wig was scary. And when she picked that dude up, corny as fuck. Again, I think everyone needs to come to the understanding that these movies aren't going to all have the same tone. I think this is pretty clearly going to be a comedy before it's a superhero movie. And see, this to me is what I want to see with these different approaches in the genre. Like, I want, if they're gonna lean into the comedy piece, then like, I'd love them to play with the fact that she's bigger than every dude she takes home. And yeah, I don't know. I can see why people don't like it. I get it. But to me, it's just like, you don't like it, then that's okay. You don't have to. Like, maybe you get a chance down the line to see more She-Hulk in a different capacity that's not set as a comedy or set as, like an ensemble piece or something, right? That's the nice thing about this, is you don't have to love everything. But I do think that the CGI will be better upon release, for sure. Pretzelgrass says it's building up to Secret Wars. Yeah, I think that's kind of the rumor right now. Which, might be a cool way for them to fold a bunch of shit in on itself. Maybe bring us some mutants finally. Be great. Resilient Custom says, "Why we're so early into the next saga, we don't even know what we're building towards yet." Yeah, but I think that's the general complaint. Like, I think that's what a lot of people are frustrated about. Like, I know my buddy Ryan is. That's what Ryan's doesn't like. Like, he doesn't like that we're 3 series and 4 or 5 movies into a phase, and we have no idea what next year is going to basically hold. So, which I get. I understand, especially because that's the model that they used to get them to where they are. So I definitely understand people's worry and concern. But until they give me a reason to doubt them, I'm not that concerned. Like I don't really doubt that Kevin Feige can deliver on something like any of this. So right now I'm just sculpting some hair lines. So for sculpting hair, I usually like to use this thing. So I for the record, it's another one of my non-strengths, hair sculpting. So I try my best not to wherever possible. And in this instance, I kind of succeeded by just taking parts from an Omega Red hairpiece and cutting it and gluing it into the places where I wanted it to be, and then using Sculpt to basically fill it in. So yeah, this is more my speed in terms of how I do hair. Oh yeah, I got music. I gotta turn that music up just a bit. It's my jam. There we go. What do we got? Man, you guys are chatty tonight. I love this. This is the best. Nike Boy says Secret Wars will be the biggest MCU movie ever. It's so much into one movie. Like I said, when it came to Endgame, I'm fine with that as long as it's done. As long as it's not just a cameo fest, I'm good with that. Like, a lot of people hated on Doctor Strange, and again, this is, I guess, minor spoilers, for it not having as much multiverse travel as they maybe wanted, and maybe not as many cameos as they wanted. But to me, when you just add cameos in just to add them in, it's like, what's the point? Like, it's just like, it doesn't add anything to the story. It's just like deluxe fan service, which, don't get me wrong, I love some fan service. But like, I just don't see, I don't know. I don't need a million cameos to make it good. Doctor Strange is, to me, one of the MCU movies that feels the most like a comic book. Multiverse of Madness. In my opinion. I quite liked it. I'm really excited to see it again tomorrow. Pretzelgrass says, or Secret Invasion. Yeah, Secret Invasion's coming, though. It's already filming, so we know that's coming. Metal Luna says, but even in the comics, that's not the case. Characters just go about their business. I'm not sure what you're referencing, but yeah, sorry. I guess this is probably from a few minutes ago, and I just didn't notice. Oh, it's like almost 10 minutes ago. Resilient Custom says, is it Kang? Is Kang going to be the next Thanos type? Is it Doom, Galactus? Who knows? Yeah, it feels like they're setting up for Kang, but that could all just be a big detour. Nike Boy says it took 10 years to get to Endgame, and Secret Wars is way bigger, so try to think how long it will take to get to that, you know? The thing is, though, Nike Boy, is like, I don't think it will take that long, because a lot of that was getting us to invest in these characters, and I think that as long as you have a few of the ones that people are invested in, you could probably make it work on a less of a time frame. So, but who's to say, you know? I mean, there's no denying that Feige and company took the slow route to get to where they are today, and it's greatly benefited them. So, you know, the problem is with the amount of content they want to put out, they can only go so slow. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting shows and movies, and, you know, it's a crazy time to be a fan of the MCU right now. Morbius is the next big bad. Stephen Colbert show, I was watching his monologue earlier, and he made a great Morbius joke about somebody who jumped off of the flight and onto the wing, and then jumped off the wing on the tarmac. And he's like, but that's because the in-flight movie was Morbius. Love it. Right, but Kang is more like a Loki or more like a Thanos, or maybe Ultron is the better reference point. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I've said this to my local friend group when we chat about this, is like, I don't think at this point we need one big bad. Like, I feel like we're in the point with them where they could do multiple big bads at a time. Like, we don't need it to be focused on just one. So I kind of hope that that's the way they go is, you know, while we're building towards Kang, we're building towards Galactus and we're building towards, you know, whatever, right? Magneto, or I really hope we don't get Magneto again, even though he's one of my favorite characters. I'm pretty over Magneto. They can put him in a little box for a while because I'm good. Let me see, like, Sinister. If we're going to get some good Marvel X-Men villains, like, give me Sinister. You know, I would take, even the Reavers would be cool to see. I know a lot of people want to see Shi'ar and stuff, which, like, I do want to see that eventually, but I don't want to start there. I really don't want MCU to do any X-Men stuff that's already been done. Like, I'd love them to just not go down any similar route that we've been down. Would be great. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Probably not. But it's looking mostly good. I'm going to go over it a little bit more in a minute or 5, but I'm going to let that chill for now. Put you on this little paint cap. Entumis noob. If I'm definitely not saying that right. There's something there, but I'm also, like, not smart, so. I'm cool with them not all being the same, and maybe it'll end up being better upon aired. However, based on what was presented, I give it 2 out of 5. Yeah, man. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with you not liking it. That's the biggest thing, is, like, I don't care. I'm good. It just goes to show again how much more diverse the Marvel universe is getting, the MCU is getting. We're getting to the point where even the people who have been fans for 10 years are like, yeah, this isn't really for me. Like, I feel like that's going to be Miss Marvel for me. It's not a character I like. It seems very, very geared to a younger audience, which, again, I understand. They're trying to grow this on many different levels. Will I watch it? Yep, I'll still watch it. I'll watch pretty much anything based in the MCU just so I can get the story, but you know, it's like Moon Knight. Will I rewatch Moon Knight? There's a pretty good chance I won't rewatch Moon Knight. I didn't love it enough to really feel the need to see it again, right? So, you know, it's that kind of thing. But yeah, teach your own. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, Metaluna, sorry. He's referring back to his comment from earlier, which he said, I'm just going to go back and read it, because he said, even in the comics, that's not the case. Characters just go about their business. Okay, and now you're answering that because I said I didn't know what you were referencing. And you said, there doesn't seem to be any direction. They'll pull it together when they're ready. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is when the time comes and it needs to make sense, you know, it's even with getting answers. For everyone's so obsessed with getting the answers for everything. And it's like, dude, we don't need the answers because later on they may be useful as something different. So why give everything away now? Like, when the time comes where we need to revisit it and it makes sense to, it's nice that they have that place to pick up from and be like, oh, well, this is related to this, don't you know? Well said, sir. Nike Boy says, I think they need to put all the other films to the side and work on Morbius too. Man, Morbius was really bad. It's really bad. But, you know, that's okay. I'm going to try to do these rings with the green stuff. So, I had a few people reach out to me and say, oh, you know, for ring reference and stuff, you could use this, you can use this. And I appreciate everyone's ideas. I ultimately ended up looking at the Marvel Encyclopedia, the big hardcover one that I have. But the fact of the matter is these are some tiny ass hands, and there's no way I can pack that much detail into a second layer on all these rings. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a little stone on each ring, and they're all going to get a different color paint. And that's the level we're going to, because, that's outside of my skill set, man. That's crazy talk. The problem is even doing the little rock on each ring is challenging because it's like so small. Like I just dropped it. There it is. Okay, here we go. Like it won't even come off, and even that, it's too big. I need to cut it in half. We can't even see how small it is. I almost feel like I should make all of my little balls here first. I'm gonna make a bunch of these tiny ass little balls. Pretzel Grass says it's morbid time. Man. I had someone actually message me and argue with me that I was wrong about Morbius, and I was just like, dude, I'm definitely not wasting the energy on this conversation. But think what you gotta think. If you love it, then that's sick. I'm glad that there has to be. I mean, I know there are because I got ripped into by one. But to each their own. Like I said, I like a lot of shit that I think the majority of the public probably don't. And that's great for me. Maybe not for them. That's okay. All right. I'm already over this, by the way. I'm already over making these tiny little stupid balls. For anybody who didn't check it out last week I had a guest on. I had the very talented Morning Wolf on last week, and it was a shit ton of fun. He was a great person to chat with. We had never really chatted in that capacity before, so it was cool to kind of get to know him a little bit and chat with him. And I think we're going to probably do it again somewhere down the line. The next one I'm lining up is one of my favorite customizers to get gifts from. And I just actually finished a gift for him, and it is going out tomorrow. My friend Pim Particles on Instagram here is going to join me. He just moved to Washington, so now that we're in the same time zone, I am going to work on getting him to come on and do the show with me. So hopefully in the next month or so, he will be able to do that, because that would be a lot of fun. We've also never really, me and him have chatted for a long time, but we've never video chatted. So, and then I remember one time he did this Batman podcast on Spotify, and I listened to it, and I was like, man, he's great on this. So now I'm like, I want him to come on. And now that we're in the same time zone, it seems like that might be a possibility. So I'm excited. And I'm excited for him to get his figure. I made him a figure. It was the bane of my existence. No, it wasn't that bad, but it was annoying. And for that reason, I can't look at it with any real love, unfortunately. But he's going to get it in about a week. And I'm very excited for him to get it, because it's been a long time. I'm very overdue. Pretzelgrass says, I loved Book of Boba Fett. Random, but that's okay. I loved what it tried to do. I feel like it stumbled on execution, but I still thought it was fine, and that's good enough for me. Metaluna says, you were a regular show host. Thanks, man. Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. He made it easy. He was easy to talk to, and he was, again, just an all-around nice guy. It's hard. It's like I almost feel like it was like a setup, because he just praised me at the beginning for being an inspiration for him, and I was like, oh man, this kind of feels gaudy for me. But that's good though, because it's it's that reminder, right? Like he's actually a big part of why I think I said this last week, why I started the channel, was because I remember having conversations with him, and him being like, oh yeah, man, I learned so much from your live streams. I didn't even really customize and that much. And then I kind of started watching you and learning more. And I'm just like, man, That's pretty fucking crazy. Like, it's insane to me that someone actually gives a shit that much about anything I'm doing. So yeah, I loved it, and I'm glad he came on, and I hope we get to do it again. I would ultimately one day love to just do like a big old mixer and just have a bunch of you guys on. That would be so fucking fun. I don't know if my internet could support something like that, but maybe. Right now I'm just using this to kind of reposition the stones. This one's too big. I'm gonna take it off. Trim that little dude. The thing is they're already so small. There we go. I kind of have to like watch when I drop the little thing because it's hard to see. For any of you guys who watch Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend or listens to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, the podcast, he put out a really funny live episode last night or yesterday with Bill Hader. And man, is it funny. It was weird. It's weird when the podcast I like kind of overlaps. The Weekly Planet podcast I listen to for comic book movie news. You guys should check them out if you don't. They're fucking amazing. Australian, really, really funny. They brought up the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast, and I was like, oh shit, that's pretty fun. And they were referencing it, and I'm like, oh my god, I get it, because I watch it all the time, or listen to it all the time. All right, let's see what the comments are saying here. Okay, thank you. I was just gonna say, can you say this for me? Okay. N2 me Snoob rhymes with Bob. N2 me Snoob. N2 me Snoob. Okay. N2 me Snoob says, was Morbius really that bad? I didn't think it would be a 5 out of 5, but I was looking forward to it. I think it was pretty bad. I think it was very bad. I feel like I was talking about this with my local friends, even Star Wars. I feel like most of these guys that go for shared universe versus lack one general direction, which the MCU has always had. Even if right now it seems like it doesn't. They know what's up. It's like Sony. Like Sony makes questionable decision after questionable decision. Something that they're just like WB too. I'm gonna shit on Warner Brother DC movies here. They're notorious for getting one thing right and getting one win under their hat, and then they're like, oh my god, we're gonna make this movie and this movie and this movie, and none of it ever happens, obviously, because why would they? But it's like Sony hits the jackpot with No Way Home, and then they start talking about making a El Huerto movie about a comic book wrestler from the Spider-Man movie. Again, making Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man, which is completely bonkers to me. Sony is as bad as Fox, who's as bad as Warner Brothers. They don't, and even I like Star Wars, but I feel like the Filoni and Favreau-verse, the little world that they're creating on Disney Plus with Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, even though I don't think Book of Boba Fett was as good as Mandalorian was, I do think that having one person in the main role who oversees everything is a really important thing, especially when you don't want to, when there's shouldn't be interruptions from, like, you know, the executives and shit like that, right? Like, I feel like Feige probably keeps it pretty close. I feel like if he doesn't get creative control, he probably will just walk, because, like, at this point he's proven that he can do it, so, like, why would he listen to big wigs, right? I'm sure they have some say, but I feel like it's probably pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. Snob. Oh, okay, there you go. And to me, snob. Rhymes with Bob. Sorry, see? English. You'd think that because I grew up in Canada my whole life that I could understand basic English, but you know. Pretzelgrass says, I love Bill Hader. Me too. He's so great. Have you seen Barry? My wife and I are going to start watching it this weekend, and I'm pretty excited. For it's really great. Pretzelgrass says, so excited for the El Muerto movie. He's my favorite character. Into me, snob. Not snoob. Snob. See, I'll get it one day. Everybody should just come in here and announce yourself by how you say your name in full breakdown. Don't assume anything. Okay. So I'm just looking over at the hair, and I really like how it looks, but it's a bit too flat for me, so I'm going to add a bit of depth with some deeper pulls with this little tool I was using earlier. I'm going to still try to get these done first. Now that the hair is on and it's blended, I care a bit less because it should be pretty easy to just fix up. Oh man, these things are too small. It's too big. It's still too big. Oh, here's a nice little tiny thing. The problem is they're so small that they're sticking to my fingers. Cool. Come on. Oh, so close. It keeps going on and coming off. This is the part where having fat fingers is not helpful. Actually, I don't think there's anything where having fat fingers is helpful. Correct me if I'm wrong, but... Oh no, I lost it. This is tragic. So what else did we see today? We saw a Toei Spider-Man, Japanese Spider-Man. That looks pretty fun. I'm starting to get I'm actually going to sell off a bunch of my Spider-Verse figures. But I do like the looks of this one, so I probably will get it. I'm for sure getting the Mojo set. Absolutely, positively, 100%. I hope I can lock one down tomorrow. I'm going to try. I think they go up at 10 West Coast time. I might be wrong, but I think they do. But I'm going to make sure that my credit card's all up to date on Pulse, and just so I can get in and out real fast. This is frustrating. The problem is I can't really wet my finger. Usually I would just wet my finger and it would stop it from sticking. But because it's so small, it's not, because it's so small, it will most likely, that would most likely stop it from actually sticking to the ring. See, once I have it on the hand, then I can slightly wet my finger and put it in place. Slightly. Cool. You can't not see those, that's for sure. Females like fat fingers. That's funny. Nike Boy says, this is out of context, but I'm in a movie production class and I'm hoping to have a film out by 2023 summer. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Is it going to be horror? I know you like your horror stuff. Pablograss says, Almuerto gets a factory, or gets a factory. Almuerto gets a movie before Century, Silver Surfer, and Daredevil hasn't gotten a movie in years. Yeah, Almuerto is literally the worst idea. But also, when I heard that, I was like, first of all, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Second of all, it's the most unsurprising thing I've ever heard. It's literally just like Sony to be like, okay, what is the deepest cut that even if we find someone who likes it, that the audience numbers are probably pretty minimal, close to nothing. Like, the character didn't even fucking appear in any. I think he's in what, like 3 comics or something like that. The guys on the Weekly Planet did a great job making fun of it, and they talked about how Sony would probably make his rival be another wrestler who has a magic mask or has very similar powers and has a disgraced dad or something, because I think that's the character, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that literally is probably what it is. It's like Morbius. Hey, what are we going to have Morbius fight? Let's have him fight the exact same thing that he is. Hey, what are we going to have Venom fight in both movies? Let's have him fight an exact duplicate of him. Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds really exciting. When I make fun of Venom in particular, the movie Venom, any of the Venom movies, they're both bad. When I make fun of either of those movies, I feel like a 45-year-old. I'm almost 40. I was gonna say 40. I feel like a 50-year-old. I feel like one of those like old, like 60-year-old guys who's like, hey, get off my lawn. That's what I feel like. But honestly, it's just bad. I can't even understand how people like it. I know that there's probably people in here who like it, so I'm sorry. I'm not shitting on you as people or in your anything. It's just my opinion. I just can't stand it. It's so bad. Okay, this is frustrating. Okay. Nike Boy says, it will be horror, yes, but also some cool action stuff, not just straight gore. Cool, I'm down. When you do that, you make sure you let me know. Pretzelgrass says, I think they just wanted Bad Bunny to play a super character, and they tried to find a Latino character. But out of all of them, they picked El Muerto, who appears in 2.5 issues. Yeah. Nike Boy says, I'm sorry to say it, but both the Venom movies are terrible. And Pretzelgrass said, the Venom movies suck bad nuts, but they're funny as hell to me. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if you can get into them for another reason, then great. It's the thing, I never really associated Venom as a funny character. I know he kind of was quirky like Spider-Man a bit, but I don't know. Needless to say, to each their own. Not for me, but that's good. So I have so far been unsuccessful to get any of these gems on any of these rings on the left hand. I just keep dropping my tiny ass little balls of green stuff. In all honesty, this is probably better being done in green stuff than it is epoxy sculpt, because the epoxy sculpt would just be a fucking mess everywhere. They would be getting smushed in, and I'd be losing the circle component of it. It would probably just look like a big old disaster. All right. Cool. There's one. 111. Whoop, 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 whoop. Man, I'm pretty surprised that I got these rings on the first try. The first ones, like the base. I did have to go in and tidy a couple of them up, but I was surprised that I was able to. Come on, stop getting stuck to my hand. I have to keep putting this down because for some reason it doesn't want to roll. It's so small it doesn't roll on a table. Okay, I'm going to try to just lightly water down my hand here. Watch, if this works perfectly, I'm going to be pissed off. Okay, good, it's not working. I have so many of these Shang-Chi bodies. I bought a couple extras because I liked his pants because they were baggy. This Speaking of civilian figures, what did you guys think of that Peggy Carter, not Peggy, Sharon Carter from Falcon and Winter Soldier, the power broker? I think it doesn't look like her at all. I'm still getting it because I want that Build-A-Figure, but I don't think it looks like the girl who plays her. I can't remember her name right now. I see some comments, so I will read them in just 1 second. Once I get one more of these on, I'll stop and read. Okay, got you on the hand at least. You're not on the ring, but you are on the hand. Come on. Nope. Nope. I'm afraid of I'm damaging those. I should be careful. Those ones look surprisingly good, the ones on the right hand, so I don't want to damage them. Ooh. Ooh, I get excited when I get one. Oh, look at me go. I have to be careful I don't put too much pressure on them. Okay, 2. That one's not super clean, but I'm letting it go because I don't want to deal with it. Oh, look at you guys. Chatty chat, chat, chat. Nike Boy says, who would you cast to play Ghost Rider? I guess it depends on which Ghost Rider we're talking about, but to be honest with you, I'm not really good with the whole casting thing because I don't really watch a ton of movies anymore. I mostly just watch superhero movies and the odd here and there elsewhere if it catches me. I don't know. Who would you guys want? You guys have any thoughts? It's just because I don't follow movies that much, right? All my people are like older actors, so I'm sure there's better people out there. Pretzelgrass says, he's funny in the way that he's very extreme, but in the movies he's just goofy as fuck. Yeah, totally. Like when he goes to that rave with the light up, with the glow sticks and stuff. Norman Reedus. I don't know who that is. Let me look it up. Who's Norman Reedus? Norman Reedus. Oh, I don't recognize him. Okay. Interesting choice. Anthony Snob says, life was a better Venom origin movie than Venom. Yeah, good point. That's funny. Oh, there you go. Nike Boy agrees with Pretzelgrass. Norman Reedus would be a great cast for Ghost Rider. Entomy Snob says, have you considered 3D printing your own parts? To be honest with you, dude, I haven't. And the only reason why is because this YouTube thing takes up a lot of time. I don't have time to do another thing. And I mean, the actual biggest reason is because this space that you see me working on is the workspace that I have. I don't really have a lot of space. I work in a very small room. I don't have the room for it. So that's the actual reason, the main reason, but ultimately it's because I just don't want to spread myself thinner. I've already slowed down on my customizing because of my YouTube channel, which I don't love. So I haven't, but I have a lot of friends who 3D print. So I'm usually pretty safe. If I need something done, I can get it done. Oh, Pretzelgrass says he's playing Ghost Rider. It's been confirmed. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. That's great. Dope. Collector Express says it's a great idea using a fodder figure to hold the hands while working on them. Yeah, I don't. I just didn't want to put my hands in what I was working on over the base body, right? So it's I have one that I always use, but unfortunately, at one point I cut off his arms because I needed the hand sockets. So this guy's been to war and back. I used to have a funny name for him, but I can't remember what it was. But he gets tested for everything. If I'm trying new shading effects, he gets the test. As you can see, he's got these weird bumpy things on his chest because I got this this medium that had like these little glass beads in it. So I was trying to get different effects with it and playing with it to see what it would look like. This one, I tried out a heat gun on a uncured epoxy to see how it would bubble. I was trying to get it to make it look like demented skin, which I think it did a pretty good job at. So I did some scales, trying a few different ways to do some like bulk scales and stuff. So yeah, but because I cut his arms off, I couldn't use it. So because I have so many Shang-Chi figures, I think I have like 4 of them or something like that. I was like, I'll just use this. I can't imagine where I might need that. So Nike Boy says Sony needs to stop making Spider-Man villains movies. Spider-Man villain movies. Make the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Hashtag Andrew is my Spider-Man. Hashtag best Spider-Man. Hashtag make ASM 3. Okay, so I think Amazing Spider-Man 1 was fine. It was pretty okay. I actually think that Andrew is the best Spider-Man, but I just cannot buy him as Peter Parker. Not at all. Like, I see Andrew Garfield and I want to be like his friend. I can't buy that that's the nerdy kid. Like, and that's just such a huge component of Peter's story that it's like, it's super important to me that it's present. And I can't buy it. I do like Andrew. And even more so, I think it's funny that in No Way Home, when he is interacting with Toby and with Tom Holland, he is ultimately the one who is like the loser. Like so in a way, I loved Andrew in No Way Home because I kind of felt like they rectified his character. Like, you know, he wasn't the cool dude. He was the one fighting the lame villains. He was the one who you know, like he was Peter number 3, and like I liked that component to it. So Andrew's story in that was a lot of fun. It was really good. I liked all 3 of them. They were all great, but I think Andrew is my favorite in No Way Home for sure. And to be honest with you, I think in the right hands, I do think that an Amazing Spider-Man 3 would be amazing. No pun intended, but I wouldn't be against seeing Venom, Tom Hardy Venom interact with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, because that universe is meant to be a bit different. So like, I would probably actually get down on that, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. I do really like Andrew as Spider-Man. I think he's a fun Spider-Man. Yeah, I just cannot buy him as Peter. In no way. He's the worst representation of Peter out of all 3. Tom's the best easy, in my opinion. I know a lot of people hate that he's Tony Stark too, but like, at least they're trying to fix that now. And I understand what people are saying, but I also understand that they use Tony to anchor a lot of stuff in the MCU, and it's, you know, just part of his legacy, I guess. So, but now that they're rectifying that, I think that's gonna make for an even better Spider-Man story. Yeah, Collector Express says he was too cool as Peter. I agree. And Nike Boy says, I agree. He doesn't look like a high school kid. Tom is the best Peter Parker. Yeah, I agree. Toby, I could buy as Peter in the sense that he was super awkward and nerdy. So it's like, I thought that worked really, 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 really well. However, the dude looks like he's 25 and he's supposed to be 17. So it's a hard sell. It's a real hard sell. But once you get him out of high school, it's not as bad, because then it's not as obvious that he's supposed to be a child, you know? Well, I guess not a child, but a kid. A young man. Cool. These are looking mostly good. How about that? All right, let's just catch up on a few more comments here. Pretzelgrass says, Peter being a nerd is a Raimi movie thing in the comics. Peter being a nerd is a Raimi movie thing. In the comics, he was bullied for a bit, but in the next issue, he was a pretty popular guy. That's fair. I know that he was the nerdy kid for a while, though. So Andrew's my Peter and my Spidey. I can relate to Andrew's Peter a lot more than I can Toby's. Yeah, I get that totally. Andrew kind of reminds me more of like Ultimate Spider-Man. It's just a bit grounded. Charlie Zimmel says, "Don't worry, I'm here." So this guy has been saying he's going to jump on here for the last couple weeks, and he keeps saying, "I fell asleep. I fell asleep." I'm just kidding, dude. Thank you for being here. You never have to feel like I'm judging you for not being here. Trust me when I say that. Everyone's got a life, you know. There's only so much content we can all take in a week. Those damn toy amigos and toying around, it's like 6 hours of content a week. It's toy content a week. It's a lot. I try to catch more where I can, but it's a lot. I'm also really into the figure booth right now. I mean, I've been for a while, but they just came back. If you guys don't know the figure booth, they do a podcast every Sunday on Spotify, and they do a live stream on Mondays. It's Prime to the First, who makes those awesome arcades. You know, I'm sure anybody who's, you know, somewhat active in the community probably knows who Prime is. He's also Enabler on Kevin's show, on Toying Around show. But it's him and figure fan Nate, who is an action figure photographer. Does a lot of really cool shots, actually. So yeah, they do a podcast every Sunday, and I love their topics. I love their takes. I've actually had a few times where there was one they did on haters, and there was this one kind of drama thing that was happening around the internet involving me not too long ago, and I really wanted to engage, and I kept on just being like, I'm not gonna engage, and I ended up listening to their episode on haters, and they like really helped kind of talk me down. So yeah, it's great. It's great when I can actually use a podcast to my advantage in that sense, right? Kind of helped me in a way that I didn't think anyone was going to be able to help. It was like kind of a fresh episode at the time. I think it was only like 2 or 3 weeks old when the situation arose, and yeah, they kind of their discussion on the matter actually kind of guided my response, which was nothing. So it was good. It was really good. Okay, I'm calling these rings good enough. You weren't going to be able to see them, but I will post a picture. I'm actually due for a post with Mandarin here, so I'll probably do that in the next few days. Hell yeah. Hands done. Let's go back to the hair first. Nike Boy says, "All right, man, I'm going to head to bed, but I enjoyed chatting it up with you guys. Have a good one." Thank you, dude. Thanks for being here. Thanks for constantly being here. I very much appreciate what you're always bringing to the table. Thank you. Have a good sleep, and hopefully we'll see you next week. It's dope. Love it, man. Nike Boy has been watching my live streams for quite a long time. When I was doing them on Instagram, he was a regular pretty much all the time. So yeah, I really appreciate him. Okay, so I'm going to try to get a bit more drastic with some of these pulls, because I feel like it just looks a bit too flat. And when I say drastic with the pulls, I mean I'm pushing in a lot. I'm going to do a heavier, I'm going to force my hand a bit heavier here. I'm going to do deeper indents into the sculpt. I'm basically trying to make it so the lines that I'm putting in don't just look like a bunch of lines on a flat piece of epoxy, or screen stuff in this case. Don't want that. That's what I don't want. So by doing like a heavier press, I can change the how I can make it so it doesn't look so flat. Basically, I think it's looking pretty good. The nice thing is it's the back, so in worst case scenario, you don't really see it too much. I'm so excited. It's a long weekend here in Canada. What is this weekend's Victoria Day? Is that right? I think it's Victoria Day. I got Monday off too. Fuck yeah. Okay, I'm liking how that looks. It looks way better than it did before, so I'm glad that I cut it where I did. I kind of feel like this should just blend into this though. Charlie says, good job for taking the high road on that on that SS bullshit. I got blocked even though he fucked up my commission he did for me. We'll leave it at that. We don't need to get any more into it. You know, I sympathize for you for sure though. But yeah, it's just too much, you know, it's too much. I don't want to get into it. That's a couple of the guys in the group did, and that's cool. I respect their decision in doing so, but I just don't care. I don't have the energy for that. It's too much. It's just way easier to disconnect from shit, you know? I'm going to blend this little bit of extra green stuff in, and I'm going to actually just extend it into the flowing hair on the bottom here. Just because I think it makes more sense. So I'm going to have it to take a couple weeks off at the beginning of June. I am going to Atlanta, Georgia for work for 5 days, and then I have to go out of town for a wedding for 4 days. So there's going to be a couple weeks where I'm gone. That did not work. Green stuff's too set for me to do any serious blending here. So I'm going to have to either do it on another try or paint it and see how I like it. Maybe I'll like it better once there's some paint on it. Just looks a bit too discombobulated right now. So cool. It does look good, but it looks like he's got like a layer of hair, and then, well, that may not be that weird. We'll see how it looks when I paint it. This side looks good. This side looks weird. It would have been better if I just blended it in, but this is too hard to blend with right now. Looks like I might end up needing one more session on the hair before I can paint. Charlie says, what's the benefit of using green stuff rather than Epoxy Sculpt? So I use them for different things. Epoxy Sculpt is very strong when it's in a bunch. So, you know, take this for example. This little man that I've been adding to. I saw somebody on Instagram do it. I cannot remember who it was. But they basically take all their extra Epoxy Sculpt or sculpting stuff and just basically sculpted something out of it with using extras from over the years. So that's what I've been doing. But like Epoxy Sculpt is super strong, like especially when there's like a good chunk of it. Like it's shitty in an application where if it was like this, because you could just like snap it and break it. It's brittle when it's thin, but when it's thick, it's like cement. It's really good. Green stuff cures not posable, but it cures flexible. So like if I took this, rolled it out, and made like a pig's tail and let it cure, I could literally pull it straight and let it go, and it would go back to its shape. So I use green stuff over Epoxy Sculpt in a couple areas. I use it when I need something to be durable and have some give to it. In this case, this back of this cape that I'm working on here, I need it to be a little bit flexible. This could have been done with Epoxy Sculpt, but it's just because I was working with green stuff that I did it. The hair I wanted to do with green stuff because once I realized that this hair is going to have to flex to move over the cape on the back, I couldn't use Epoxy Sculpt anymore, because if I did, I would risk cracking the sculpt. So the front of this hair was done using Epoxy Sculpt, but the back part I needed to switch to green stuff, so that way it can have a bit of give when I need it to move with this. So before I go any further, I'm going to quickly take this tape off. I just want to make sure this is sitting where I want it to sit before I start moving it. So for any of you guys who weren't here at the beginning, you'll see what I'm doing here. So what I did was I slathered this guy's back with Vaseline. I'm not giving him a massage, don't worry. Because I put this magnet into his back for his cape, and then when I attached the cape, I realized it was very slanted. So to correct that, I put it in the placement where I wanted it, and then I'm sculpting with green stuff on top of the torso. And then once it dries, the Vaseline will let it release really easy, so I can just pop it right off, and then I'll have a perfect indentation on the back of where I want it to go. And then it should hold it in place where I need it to stay. So what was happening was the cape was kind of moving this way because of the way I implanted the magnets on the back. Kind of did them not that great. So I'm trying to correct my mistakes is what I'm trying to do right now. Thank you guys all for being here. There's a good chunk of you guys, and a good chunk of you are consistently here. So thank you very much. It makes this a lot funner. It makes this a lot more fun when I have people to chat with. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And don't think I don't recognize you. If you happen to be here and you're not saying anything, you should say something, just so I can acknowledge the fact that you're here and say thank you for wasting your time with me. So yeah, so that's the main difference between green stuff and Epoxy Sculpt. And to even go further than that, you can use Procreate, which is like green stuff that really sucks to sculpt with, and it's even more flexible. So like with a Procreate, I can actually run wire through it, and you could actually make it like posable. Like it's strong enough that it would be, you could like consistently flex it and play with it. So Madalena says, you're welcome. Thanks, man. But then he fell asleep. What else? We can talk quickly about, while I'm waiting for this, I'm kind of procrastinating because I don't want to do this. Let's just quickly jump into this. There's enough of us here that we can talk about this. Look at this. I put everything in little slides. How about that? So this is a 100% buy for me. There's no way I'm skipping this. Even though I prefer my Dazzler with a coat, I appreciate that they gave her pinless elbows, or double elbows, and bicep swivel. I also really like that new head sculpt. I might ultimately end up putting that on the jacket Dazzler, the retro Dazzler. So, but yeah, and then Mojo looks really good. Later on in the slides, I have a picture of current Mojo with the old Toy Biz one, and he's a little bit bigger too. But Mojo's got double jointed elbows, pinless again. Looks like he's got diaphragm joint, a little bit of head movement, I think. He has an alternate head, he has alternate hands. That long shot, though, is beautiful. And that box, that presentation's great, too. Mojo World, so cool. There's Mojo. Again, these are digital renders, guys, so they're not actual figures. They did have the actual figure in hand, like a factory print, it looks like, but I like that we get alternate head sculpts for him. That's awesome. So ugly and grimacing. This is the star to me. Charlie's Emerald says, "What the fuck is that fat thing?" That is Mojo. That is a self-portrait, sir. You take that back. I got dreads. Kind of does look like me from certain angles. This right here is awesome. And I can't remember who said it. Was it Pretzelgrass or Nike? Somebody here, I think earlier said that, oh no, it was Luna. Luna said that Longshot looked kind of buff. So I don't really see it too much. I feel like the bandolier kind of makes him seem wider to me. But man, that just looks dope. I fucking love that. I really hope that that turns out how it looks there. Or better, would be better. But yeah, they said it was 100% new sculpt, so I like that. So that's all pinless. That looks great. I like that new torso. Hopefully we get more of that because that looks useful. And again, Dazzler does not have pinless knees, for some, which is unfortunate, but she does have double elbows and bicep swivel. So kudos to them for doing that at least. And then we get this little Scotty Young inspired X-Men Babies Wolverine, which apparently they're counting as a figure. Don't think I agree with that, but hardly a figure. And it's got great packaging too, which I think is nice. Then we got this Toei Spider-Man. I love that we get like that Japanese writing up on the top for Spider-Man and the logo in Japanese too. I think that's really cool. This is another all-new sculpt apparently. Not sure what he comes with in terms of alternate hands. I'm hoping he comes with at least a set of hands, but I would love to have him have both, like 2 open hands like those ones there and 2 fists. I'd be fine with that. So yeah. Metal Luna says, Longshot's head sculpt's fantastic. Yeah, it really is. Look at that thing. They nailed that mullet. It's perfect. It's all party in the back all day long. Marcus Yee. Hey man, what's going on? Would the pinless knees only be there because of the promo images? They might fix it for the final product. Yeah, they might. The reason that makes me feel I feel otherwise is because this is already a digital render. So like, I mean, this would be the time to take it out. You know what I mean? Like this would be is easy to take it out. You would just erase it. Like you would just get rid of it, right? So I hope that we get all pinless. That would be great. That looks so much more seamless, particularly on the ladies. So I'm game if they want to give us pinless. I hope they do. Sharon Carter, the power broker, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I think it works. I don't see girl who plays Sharon Carter. I can't remember her name. I don't see the likeness. I don't see it. I see it a little bit. Like I see like the nose. Like it just doesn't seem to marry together. The components all seem to be there. But what made me excited about this figure was seeing the package shot and seeing how shiny that Ultron is. When they originally showed that digital render of that Build-A-Figure Infinity Ultron, he looked very gray plastic. It's very nice to see that he's nice and shiny and silver. So that made me happy to see. I'm getting this wave regardless because I want that Ultron. So if that means Sharon's coming with me for it, then I guess so be it. This is also one of the teases from a previous Marvel live stream that Ryan showed at the end of the show, where he shows like a tease. He showed off that baton. I think everyone thought it was Daredevil, but it actually ended up being for Sharon. So he had mentioned that on the live stream. So yeah, I'll get this because I need the back part and I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Then they did this retro carded War Machine, which Resilient Customs, who I'm making this Mandarin for, was in here earlier, and he was very excited about what the potential that this could bring. I think this is pretty cool. I don't need it. I do like that pearl white color instead of the silver. I think it looks pretty damn sharp. Um, I think it looks really good. I don't need it, but I like it. So, and I'm interested to see what they do on that retro card in particular. There's no way we're not getting a modular Iron Man. It's for sure happening. Then we got Firelord, who a lot of people were happy about. I did hear some comments earlier. I believe it was Collector Express who said he was pretty disappointed that it wasn't on a retro body, Spidey body. I feel like they're not going to use that body as much as we want them to, unfortunately. I feel like they're going to use it sparingly, which is too bad, but... Oh, it's raining pretty hard. Just heard the rain hitting my window. I don't need this. I'm not a Cosmic fan. I'm not doing Galactus. I could imagine that anybody who is doing Galactus is on board for this, so not surprised that we're getting it. And the fact that it's on a retro card makes a lot of sense, because that's where he showed up on that style carding back in the day, in the Toy Biz days. So, and then there's just his last little cue, so you can see there on the first one, that's the side-by-side of the new Mojo next to the Toy Biz one, so you can see it is a little bit bigger. I do prefer the paint on the Toy Biz one, but I think this still looks pretty good from what I can see, so not too bad. I have to do some dry brushing and stuff on the silver. It looks too plastic for me. Then we also got this hand that's holding something of some sort. Some people speculated a card. I think Ryan even said it was a card, or he had mentioned a card, which makes me think that that's probably not what it comes from. Obviously, the obvious thought is an animated style Gambit, but I don't think that's the case. Resilient Customs messaged me earlier and thought that that kind of looked like a scene from the animated series where Morph is holding this controller thing. I don't know the exact details about it. I can't recall. But it does look pretty similar, so it could be that. Maybe it is that. Marcus G says the Sunfire body is becoming the new Bucky cap in terms of how often it's been used. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a little too small to be a Bucky cap replacement, in my opinion. But that being said, I think the Sunfire body is probably my favorite body to customize up. I like it a lot. It's easy to work with. It's easy to crack. I like it. It's a good one. So, but I'm happy to see that they're adding more to the arsenal. Like, I'm happy to see that we're getting, like, that Vulcan body looks promising, even though it's not, to me, it's too big to be a replacement of the Bucky cap. But I quite like it. Like, I would love to see them do a Cyclops on that body, even though it's a bit big. Okay, so now what I'm doing, guys, is I'm going in and cutting off all this extra. And I'm not going to force anything crazy. If I just get the score lines in, that's good enough. I can go in and clean it up with my Dremel after the fact. So right now I'm going to just kind of eyeball it out here. I keep dipping my knife into rubbing alcohol. It helps stop anything from sticking. Okay. Take a little bit off. Charlie Zimmel says Bucky cap is the best animal mold. Changed my mind. It has no butterfly joints. That on its own is enough. It's outdated articulation. It has the smallest little feet I've ever seen, and it has the longest dick piece I've ever seen either. It's just like, that guy's waist is like half a foot long. Like, it's insane. Don't get me wrong. I can appreciate what it did for our Marvel Legends, and it held out for us for a long time, but it's time for it to go. Update it with something better. Marcus E says, cracking figures is hard. I tried it with Power Rangers torso. It was absolute hell. Yeah, those ones are not fun to crack. I tried it once and I gave up. I couldn't get it. to be honest with you, dude, I am not a huge fan of cracking torsos. I've been doing it more lately, trying to get better at it, because it is a lot better for prep work. There's a lot of spots you can't fully get to without cracking a torso. And it's too bad, because what I have found with every torso I've cracked is no matter how good you are at putting them back together, they never seem to go back together the way you hope they would. So I just realized that I left the slideshow on while I was working, so I'm going to quickly zip through the rest of this. I also put these on here too, just because I know some people don't always follow everything online and maybe miss some of this stuff. So these are the Premium DNA Earthworm Jim figures. So they went up for sale today. I only took a bunch of pictures of Earthworm Jim because I think he looks badass. He comes with snot too, his little booger friend. You can see he comes with a couple different options, snot shooting out of his backpack. He comes with 3 different head sculpts and different hands and his gun. And then there's also an extra head set with 6 extra heads and a little worm body that you can use as well, because his head comes out of his body. So I think this looks awesome. I don't need the whole group, so I don't need the whole group. We also get Psychro, we get Dr. Monkey for a head, and we get Bob the Goldfish with his dog. I can't remember the dog's name, but yeah, these look fucking sweet. My only issue is Premium DNA was associated with Megalopolis, I think was the name of that toy store that went out of business, bankrupt, because they were like continuously selling stuff that they didn't have, taking people's money and not shipping anything. So I have a hard time directly supporting them. I don't want to give them any money because I don't trust them. So when they also did Battletoads, I don't know if it was this year or late last year, can't remember now, but I wanted the Battletoads, so I bought them through BBTS, and I figured I will probably do this with those as well, with the Earthworm Jim figures as well, if they go that option. I don't know if that's part of the plan or not, but if they do, that's what I'll be doing, because I don't want to take any risks with the company. I don't trust that they'll deliver the goods, and that way if BBTS doesn't get them, then I don't have to pay for them, and we're good. So yeah. So yeah, I love this Earthworm Jim. I think he looks really, really good. And lots of articulation. We'll see how that goes. Supermark. Oh, hey, it's Quebec Customs, or Dios. You changed your name recently. The IG live chat was so toxic. Oh, I know. That's just the way it is now, unfortunately. That's a shame, eh? But, you know, you can't please everyone. And again, I don't think it's wrong for people to expect more from figures, especially when they've gone up the prices that they've gone up this year, you know? Like this year, they've gone up a lot of money, And I don't think that it's wrong for people to have expectations to go along with those price changes. That's all. I think you can do it in a nice way. I don't think you need to be a total asshole about it, which I think a lot of people are, unfortunately. I feel worse for the Star Wars team, even though I think they suck at what they do. No one needs to be treated the way they get treated. Those guys get treated like dog shit. Poor guys, that fucking sucks. I'm gonna get this off, put me back on here. Welcome, Supermark. Thanks for coming by. It sucks, I'm kidding. I'm assuming you're talking about Earthworm. Marcus E says, longest dick piece. Never thought I'd hear that for an action figure, but I can see it. Look, I'll show you. This is awesome. I'm not showing you guys my dick, just for the record. Bucky cap. Just comparing it to other figures. Okay, so here's a Havoc figure. He is on a Bucky cap. Look at how long his waist is compared to a Spider-Man UK. Let me see if I can get it to... guess it's hard to tell because of but the line is right there. Like, I know it's to accommodate a belt. I understand the reasons why they did it, for sure. But I don't love it. I don't love it. Not a Bucky Cap fan. I'm ready for it to go any day, whenever it wants. Even the Spider-Man UK body, I love that body way better. Charlie says, no joke, what is Earthworm Jim? Earthworm Jim is an old cartoon / video game / comic book, I think. I think it originated from a video game, and it was kind of like meant to take after Ninja Turtles. I think it was trying to capitalize on what Ninja Turtles had been doing. And in the game, it's basically a game about 3 video designers who go to this 3D video game that they built, and they get stuck inside it. And in the video game, they play as the Battletoads, which are these toads that can turn their limbs into like weapons. So like they get like a giant boot and they kick their bad guys, or their hands turn into like drum, like cymbals, and they like smash it on their opponents' heads. It's fun. It was fucking impossible. It was such a hard game. It was crazy hard. So, but yeah, Battletoads, they're dope. Marcus, yeah, I'm considering on slicing it along the seam line, maybe using a little bit of acetone nail polish remover to loosen up the glue. Be careful with that. So, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, Marcus. If you do, or if you don't, find me, same name, customsbymatchu, and message me about that. My buddy D taught me a trick, and it's not perfect, but it works really good. It works more than it doesn't work. But you do need to have a Dremel. Or I guess you don't need to have a Dremel. You could just have a drill. You basically need to drill a couple holes in a few spots. Then you soak it in water, and then you throw it in the freezer for a day. And what happens is when you then go in to pop it open, the plastic is started to be separated because the water expands when it freezes. And then when you pop the whatever you use to pop your figures apart, I use a nail press, but sometimes I also use like this like carving tool that I have. Once you pop it in and you just give it a quick little thing, it most of the time pops open. There's a couple bodies I can't get it to work on, this one being one of them. The Spider-Man UK body has this post in the middle of the chest that is like the diameter of a dime. It's fucking huge, and I have not successfully cracked this body. Bucky Cap's relatively easy. Sunfire's relatively easy. Yeah, Maverick was pretty easy to crack. So yeah, hit me up though that's pretty much how you do it. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to help you. You're welcome to reach out to me. I recognize your name. You're a Toy Migo. You're a Chat Migo. You're family. Supermarket, do you pay extra fees with BBTS? So for the premium DNA stuff for the Battletoads, I paid $60 USD for each figure. I bought Pimples and Zits, or Rash and Zits, I think it was. The 2 toads that I wanted, I got. The problem for me with BBTS is it's like they flagged me as being like someone that should always pay duties. So Supermarket, I know you're in Quebec. So my issue with BBTS is like I've gone to the point where like I've ordered $28 worth of stuff and paid $24 in customs fees. Like that's where I'm at with them. So I literally don't use them unless I absolutely have to. And in this circumstance, I was like, I'll pay the extra to have the security of knowing that I won't be giving that company my money directly. So I pay the premium. It is a premium for sure. But that being said, my buddy went to order Jim today off Premium DNA's website, and the international shipping to Canada was $60 US for an Earthworm Jim and for Earthworm Jim and the head pack, it was $60. Like that's fucking ridiculous. $60? No, that's too much. Too much. All right, I'm just gonna cut this in the middle here to hopefully help it come off a little bit easier. Come on, come on. Nice. Oh, it's not enough. I cut off too much. God damn it. That's disappointing. Entomy Snob says, I dislike that they're not really live. Not really live. Oh, I see what you're saying. Are you talking about the live stream today, the Hasbro one? I didn't know they were live. I assumed they were. Marcus E says, got you. I tried using a pin vise, thought it would be cleaner. Didn't know about freezing it though. I've only heated them up and obviously the torsos get stressed. I might try it out. Yeah, I would say go the opposite direction with hard plastic. You're not gonna, the hard plastic's never gonna get soft enough to come apart easier with heat. The only time that will happen is when you start to deform what you're working on. And you probably don't want to do that. So this is just barely hanging on. I'm gonna probably have to do another session of Sculpt on it. That sucks. But maybe I'll do that tonight, later on. That being said, I am gonna take a little bit more off the top here. But yeah, try the cold. The cold works way better. Since I switched to the cold, I've had significantly more success. But like I was saying, to be honest with you, I don't crack torsos if I don't absolutely have to, because I never can get them back together the way they're supposed to be. They're always significantly looser. Yeah, not good. Quebec Dial says, what? Yeah, $60 fucking Canadian American to ship them to Canada. You might even be more because you're in Quebec. Last week I tried the McFarlane toy store and it was $40 US to ship a weapons pack. That's insane. Yeah. That was like a haulathon. NECA did that haulathon at Target for the Ninja Turtle stuff. And it was $60 American to ship a 2-pack to Canada. And I now wish I would have done it because I can't find that 1 2-pack that I need, but I know that we'll get it eventually, so it's fine. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. That's insane. That's two, way too much. It's not worth it. Cool. This is looking mostly good. This worked out well. This little back hunch thing that I did here. It's, I think, too thick though. I might even be able to fix this now. Let's see if I can fix this now. I am going to, it's starting to set, so it might not work, but I'm going to try my best to thin this out because it's a bit too thick. All right. Well, putting my hands in my front sculpt, but I don't really care because I haven't actually done anything on that yet, so. Okay. See, the good thing about this is I can always just Dremel that off if I need to. This is going to probably end up having to be a second day thing, which is unfortunate. I was hoping to get all my sculpting done tonight, but I might have to still do one more sesh tomorrow, which is unfortunate, but acceptable. You can't rush it. It's gotta, and that covered a good chunk of it, so we might be mostly okay. I'll finish it off tomorrow. I'll do one minor sculpt on the bottom down here. I'll clean that edge off up here. probably going to have to go in and sand that down too. Okay, so this is going to have to be a two-part thing, I'm afraid. I think I'm too far gone to save it. So I won't try to. I will just do the best I can with what I have, and then tomorrow I'll go in, I'll Dremel some of this off, so you can see what I'm saying here, guys. So it's thick. It's very thick here. It's too thick. I need this to be as thin down as possible because this hair needs to lay over it, right? So tomorrow, once this dries, I will, the key thing here is having the green stuff contact on the back. Now that green stuff is on there, I should be able to peel it off tomorrow without any issue. And then when the magnets clip into place, it'll hold it according to the grooves in the back side of this green stuff. That's the hope. That's the plan. So once this cures and I take it off, I should be able to just Dremel this whole face off, and then I can sculpt something that's a bit more low profile. But for now, it's serving its purpose. So unfortunately, it means I'm not going to finish sculpting tonight, but it is what it is. Let's finish up with these things on the front here. So he just has a couple, some boobs. That company that's doing Earthworm Jim and the Battletoads and stuff, they also talked about doing claymation figures. I don't know if any of you guys would know claymation. Is it called claymation? Clay Fighters, not claymation. Clay Fighters. Do any of you guys know what that is? Clay Fighters was a video game in the heat of the fighting game era. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. And basically it was a claymation style fighting game. And it was pretty fun. I don't know if I need characters from it, but it was pretty fun. So all reserve rights. There's a good amount of characters in that, plus different colorways. So there's a lot, like, you know, there's 2-player colors and regular colors. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that line go for a little bit, because there's a lot to pick from. All right. Come on. I'm just trying to get the general shape right now. And then once I'm happy with the shape, I can cut it to how it's supposed to look. Because it's not supposed to be a square. It's supposed to have like these kind of angles on the side here. Nice. Let's get rid of that. I got a little piece of green stuff in there. So guys, if any of you guys are here and you just popped in and you haven't left a like, can you please leave a like? It'd be very much appreciated. I'm trying to get my watch time and my engagement up at the moment. I would so love to be able to do this just all the time. I've been lately frustrated with work, and I'm like, how awesome would it be to be able to just make action figures? How fucking awesome would that be? I don't think it's likely, but I do love this and seem to be getting more of a distaste for work being my actual job. Marcus Yee, thank you for subscribing. See, you just subscribed. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Okay. Do that. So I'm pretty excited this weekend. I think most of you guys who follow me know I'm a big fan of astonishing news and reviews on YouTube, Instagram, all that shit. My buddy Alvin runs it, and I offered to go. His wife's out of town this weekend, and they just moved the A&R studio to his basement. They've been renting places for a long time, and now he's kind of relocated into the basement. They had a rental unit down there that now they're using it for that instead. And I went over there a few weeks ago to pick some shit up and just to catch up because we haven't seen each other in a bit. And he had fucking shit everywhere, like everywhere. And I offered to come over and help him on Sunday, try to put some shit away. He hasn't been doing a lot of videos and stuff because his space is so cluttered that there's just nowhere to really set up. So I offered to go and help him, whether it's just open toys and put them into bags. He has a lot of stuff that's just waiting to be opened. So yeah, so I'm hoping that that'll be pretty fun. I don't know if any of our other fellow local nerds are going to be joining us, but I hope they do. But I think the issue was that no one could do Saturday night. Everyone wanted to do Friday night, and I couldn't do Friday night. So, but it'd be great if somebody else was there. I think our buddy Rado was saying he might join us. So I hope so. It's nice to be able to do the local thing when you have good local people. I am very fortunate to have a good local scene here in the toy community. So it's good. All right. This doesn't look quite the same. There we go, it's a bit better. There we go. And then he has some detailing in the middle too, which I'm not really looking forward to trying to freestyle here, but I'm going to. Wish me luck. That's not too bad. Now the goal is to get the second one the same. Easy peasy, right? Do I have... still good. Sometimes it's good to not throw away your old sculpting tools, even when you replace them. This one is like stiff as fuck, but it's exactly what I need right now. Will allow me to widen these lines I did with my knife. There we go. Cool. And then I'm going to use my paintbrush and rubbing alcohol to give this a quick little rinse. And again, this softens any cuts I may have made, so the details that I just put in with those sculpting tools basically softens it so it's not so harsh. And it also cleans up any what I like to call crumbs, the leftovers. All right, so we didn't get to doing those tonfas tonight, unfortunately, and we're past the 2-hour mark. So I'm going to finish up what I'm doing here and call it a night. Probably still work on the tonfas for a little, but I have to do my video tonight. So I really want to put out another video this week. I also am working towards my next. I got a ton of love on my neck mod video that I put out. The last video I put out was a neck mod. I did like a modification to the old school Hasbro Marvel Legends female necks to give them more range of motion. So check that out if you haven't. It's a relatively easy modification to make. I would say low risk. Still some risk, but definitely low risk. And it got a ton of love, like a ton of love. More than any of my other videos ever did. So I was like, I guess I'm doing tutorials now, because it seems like that's what people want. So my next tutorial is going to be how to dismantle pinless joints. I get asked that question semi-regularly, and I think it's a good one, and I'm going to tackle that one next. That's next. So after this week's video is going to be a custom figure showcase for my Jin Satome figure from Marvel vs. Capcom. Just to showcase that, I have a lot of custom figure showcases I need to catch up on. I'm very behind. I think I'm like 5 or 6 figures behind, like reveal wise, like in terms of what I've shown. Like obviously the stuff that I show you guys here, my WIP stuff, you see it as I'm building it, and you kind of see it at the end when I finish it. But I usually don't. The way I kind of do it is I share my my fancy pictures, the ones I take in my photo booth. Those get shared when I do the official reveal, which used to be a big write-up on my webpage, which is now converted to YouTube videos. Ugh. So yeah, I'm slowly getting my way. I'm hoping when I'm in Georgia, I'll have some downtime in the evenings to catch up on some of those and do some more, because yeah, I'd love to get caught up. I still have that Mafex style Daredevil I did on the what's it called body, the V-Toys body. I have my Ahab. I have, what else did I do? Smythe. I did that 007 Halo figure. I will soon have this Summer Swap figure that I'm finishing up, which is a secret currently. I'm going to have the swap figure I did for Pim Particles, which I'll get to reveal next week, I hope, or the week after. So yeah, as you can hear, I have a lot that I haven't shown. So yeah. I don't know how old this message is. Oh, it's only a few minutes. Charlie says, I feel like it would be something around how much MODOK was. Wasn't he like $50? Oh, sorry, I must have missed. I missed Quebec Diorama say, how much do you think Mojo will cost? Too much. That's what Charlie says. And he says it would be probably about. So that Mojo is actually part of a box set. So I'm guessing they're going to rate it as a 4-figure box set. It's a convention exclusive. I'm guessing that thing is going to be about 120 US. If I had to, no, that's too much. It'll be over 100, I think, if I had to guess, or around 100 USD. Marcus E says currently planning on a molding casting pinless joints. Okay. Oh, nice. That's sweet. So Marcus, do you do, obviously you do casting stuff then if you're planning on that. So that's cool. That's awesome. That's another skill I don't have the room or time to learn. I did toy around a little bit with casting and molding, and I think out of the 3 times I attempted it, I got 2 usable pieces. It wasn't great. I was pretty discouraged, if I'm being honest. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay. Oh, no. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but I just accidentally dropped my Mandarin head in the bowl of the shot glass of rubbing alcohol. So not my best moment, but also not really that big of a deal. Okay, so before we wrap up, Quebec Diorama says, "Oh man, I can't afford that." Yeah, man, it's expensive. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but if I had to guess, especially with the current prices, I would imagine you could probably go more expensive than less expensive. Whatever you think it is, probably add 20 bucks to it. That's probably the best way to do it at this point. Especially because it's a convention exclusive. They're going to milk the shit out of that for sure. Okay, so to recap what we did tonight. We did the blending on Mandarin's hair. You can kind of see it when I stay farther away. I don't love this section still. I might end up doing another sculpt session on top of this and blending this into this. Originally, I was trying to go with this like overlay thing that he had, but I don't like it. It doesn't look good. So I'm going to do that. Since I have to do another sculpt session now anyway, I might as well do that too. And I can do that stuff with Epoxy Sculpt. Now that the majority of it's done in green stuff, I'm good. I don't need it anymore. I also did the second layer and the details on all Mandarin's rings. So now they all have gems on them. You probably can't really see because you can imagine it's just not picking that up. But you can kind of see it on this hand, I think. And I did this piece on the cape to hold it in place, which I am going to sand down tomorrow, thin it out, and then re-sculpt over top of it. And then I did these little buckle things on the front to finish off the front sculpt on this guy. Got a little bit of excess green stuff on the shoulder pads here. I'm going to get rid of that. Anywhere there's extra, I can just use this brush and take most of it off. When I do go over this tomorrow, I am probably going to shave a little bit more off the top. I just don't want to do it yet because I don't want that back piece to be for nothing. I cut too much of this off here, so I'm going to already have to fill in the gaps down there because you can see the magnets. But that's okay. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's just one extra sculpt session. Just add one more day. It's already taken this long, so whatever. And that is all I worked on tonight. No tonfas for me. But what we can do is we can tell everyone I worked on tonfas, because in the thumbnail, the tonfas were all black. But since then, I have made some good progress on them. So still need to touch them up a bit. But I will have 2 extra pairs of those to sell for anybody who's interested for their blue Zeo Ranger. Let us go to split screen. Flip around here. Quebec Diorama says so, about 150 Canadian. Yeah, I don't want to say that for sure, but yeah, I would say consider it something in vain to that. Like, look at what that MODOK and the Captain from Next Wave cost us last year. That MODOK road trip convention figure. I think he was like 120 bucks at GameStop Canada. So I would imagine this is probably going to be a bit more than that. So Marcus E says, I'm very new to casting. It's hella stressful. Yeah, I struggled with it. My buddy Draven does some casting and seems to have some success. I think he wants to buy a pressure pot. I think he's kind of taking it to the next level. So And End to Me Snob says, thoughts on the current Kang figure. It's not a character I love. I mean, I know Kang, but like, as a comic book fan, I was always an X-Men guy. I know Kang did kind of tangle with the X-Men a little bit too. I think for what he needs to do, he's fine. I don't think it's perfect, but I do think it is a good figure. Like, it got I think it got all new parts when he came out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. So I don't hate it. I think they used smart articulation considering his costume. So okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you, all of you guys. Man, seriously, there's a lot of I've said this already once tonight, but there's a lot of familiar faces in here week after week. I know it's not the biggest group of you guys. It's usually only about 10 of us at the very, very most. But honestly, it really means the world to me that you guys come in here and you want to talk shop and talk toys and just watch me do this shit. So thank you guys very, very much. Honestly, you have no idea how much it means to me. I look forward to Wednesday nights and being able to do this with you guys. So thank you. Next week, like I said, I think next week I'm going to be working on that siren head just so I'm ready for it when it finally does arrive. For anybody who missed it earlier, I found a Maven Collectibles screaming head for the female figures that looks like it scales pretty nicely with the Shriek body that the siren figure is on. So I'm going to probably paint that next week. I feel like by then I should be painting Mandarin as well. So I'll probably be doing some painting on Mandarin. I'll probably be doing some painting on Siren. And yeah. Charlie says, don't get all emotional. I'm not here for that shit. I'm here for the toys. Well said. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep my tears in my ducts. What else? Check my YouTube videos, or check my YouTube channel on Friday. Like I said, I'm hoping to drop a new video on Friday for my Jin Satone action figure, custom figure I made for my buddy D. That'll be coming out Friday. Also Friday night, every Friday night, I do a podcast with my buddy Ryan over at Moose Milk Media on Instagram and Spotify and everything. And we basically usually just talk about whatever's happening in Disney Plus shows or movies that have come out. The last couple weeks with Moon Knight ending, we've been kind of struggling with ideas. So last week we both watched a movie that we had never seen before that is kind of considered a classic. Last week we watched Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Neither of us had ever seen it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. We both didn't love it, to be honest. Must be a nostalgic thing. This week we decided to pick movies for each other that we haven't seen. So Ryan is watching Toy Story 4 this week. Ryan is not an animated series guy, so he doesn't like animated stuff too much. So it should be interesting to get his take on. He does like the Toy Story movies, but I think he's not a huge fan on watching animated. And then for me, he picked Wonder Woman, which I watched on Saturday. I won't say too much, but I really liked it. That was really, really good. So yeah, it's cool. So check us out on his Instagram. We do it on Instagram Live. You'll be notified if you follow me when I go live. 10 p.m. Pacific time, and we go for about an hour. We just kind of shoot the shit and talk about. This week we'll probably talk about She-Hulk, and he'll probably shit on it, and I'll probably love it. So that should be good. It's our usual dynamic. And yeah, if you aren't following on Instagram, please do at customsbymatchu. If you care to look at my catalog of work, www.customsbymatchu.com pretty much has everything I've done over the past 7 years. So you could pretty much see pictures and little write-ups of everything I've done if you're that inclined to check it out. So feel free. And that's it. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. There's no tears here, no sentiment. It's just thank you. And have a good week and be safe. And we will see you guys next week. That's it. Peace.